In Cambodia, Prime Minister Hun Sen said that the government has now drafted a law to allow it to declare a state of emergency in case the spread of the coronavirus uncontrollably goes. There's also fear of the spread of the coronavirus as the Khmer New Year, which will be ushered in mid-April, will even raise the risk of spreading the disease. We have a report coming in from Crystal Ann Ballesteros. Crystal Ann?
Hi, Alma.
Hi, good
Well,
afternoon.
that is true. As always, good afternoon. I will be keeping you up to date with the latest stories as they happen about the current situation with COVID-19 in Cambodia. There have now been 100 cases of COVID-19, 48 Cambodian, 37 French, 12 Malaysian, 5 British, 2 Indonesian, 2 American, 1 Canadian, Chinese, and Belgian. Most of the cases are import or they just get it when they travel to other countries. Meanwhile, Khmer New Year is nearly approaching, which will be ushered in mid-April as a time for family gatherings, visits to pagodas, which are often very crowded for the 3 main days, and a lot of interaction is done without any social distancing. This brings questions in the measures which could be implemented by the authorities to curb this, as without a local travel restriction, the traditional way of celebrating Khmer New Year will see cross-country travel. This also gives rise to the possibility of a spike in COVID-19 as close contact and proximity is practiced, and in the case of Malaysia, a group of infected people had caused the infections to spread 5 generations. They went home after a gathering and infected their family members. They then went for a wedding ceremony where some were infected. Their neighbors were also infected because of close proximity. Their friends who greeted them were also infected, and those infected from the wedding party in turn infected others. This is a situation which can happen in Cambodia, as there are fears that some or many of the 40,000 workers in Thailand who had returned to Cambodia and went home to their provinces. Some could be carriers and may not show symptoms, and as such, it would be hard to detect. For example, the French tour group, of whom 31 were infected, had been in direct or indirect contact with some 340 people in Siem Reap and possibly hundreds more in Battambang, Phnom Penh, and Sihanoukville, as it would have been virtually impossible to trace all of them. Thus, Khmer New Year travel presents a clear and present danger to Cambodians and all citizens in Cambodia, as close contact cannot and will not be avoided during the family gatherings. Another, government drafts law to allow for state of emergency over virus. Prime Minister Hun Sen said yesterday that the government has drafted a law to allow it to declare a state of emergency to fight COVID-19. He said that the press conference in the National Assembly he had to pursue the option of having a state of emergency in order to stop the spread of the coronavirus in the kingdom. He added Cambodia is on high alert over COVID-19, which could infect hundreds of people in the kingdom, and the government needs to have a specific law on the virus because there is only Article 22 in the Constitution and not a law, which allows the king to declare a state of emergency. Article 22 states, when the nation faces danger, the king shall make a proclamation to the people, putting the country in a state of emergency after agreement with the Prime Minister and the President of the National Assembly and President of the Senate. Cambodia just have Article 22, which covers a state of emergency, but it does not have a specific law. By having this law, it will pave the way for the government to implement it properly. Prime Minister Hun Sen said the public should not worry about having this law because the government does not aim to use it, but just wants to have it in case it is needed. He also said his government wants society to function as normal. No market, coffee shop, or restaurant will be shut down due to the novel coronavirus threat. Alma?
Okay, so Crystal, and should the government allow the declaration of a state of emergency? Prime Minister Hun Sen said, don't be scared because What would happen during a state of emergency in Cambodia?
Well, as of now, Alma, there is no specific law or measures about the state of emergency because they are still drafting it. But I think it's going to be a big help for the country of Cambodia to have this state of emergency, especially now that the Ministry of Health is telling us that Cambodia is on high risk.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, okay. You've also canceled visas on arrival for foreign nationals for a month,
Yes.
effective midnight on March 30, right?
Yes, that is correct.
And this is true. The show, foreign nationals wishing to travel to Cambodia must obtain a prior visa abroad. And then they must have medical certificate certifying
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And they also have a medical certificate not less than 72 hours from the country that they have traveled before they come here in Cambodia.
Oh, okay. And then they also must show proof of medical insurance of at least a coverage.
$50,000.
$50,000. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So the World Bank announced that the Asian economies may be pushed into deeper recession, and I guess as a result, the coronavirus spread, specifically Thailand, Cambodia, Pacific Islands would be helped. All right, thank you very much for your updates, Crystal. We'll be waiting for more. Stay healthy. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Alma. For the news and update here in Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and we live in interesting times.